Hi guys, wow, so the Tories got completely trashed at the polls, losing both by-elections in Tamworth and mid-Bedfordshire. While the seat originally held by dodgy Chris Pincher was always expected to go to Labour, the old seat of Nadine Dorries was more in doubt, as it was feared that the anti-Tory vote would be split between Labour and the Lib Dems. However, on the night that didn't happen. Now, reactions have been pretty interesting. Professor John Curtis compared it to the 1997 landslide, while George Osborne, the former Tory Chancellor, told a podcast that the Conservatives risked an Armageddon at the general election. Greg Hands, the Tory chair, was sent out to put a positive spin on this, and of course he tried to downplay the Labour wins.
Well, obviously these are very disappointing results for us, but by-elections are by-elections. Governments rarely win by-elections. We're obviously disappointed. A large number of Conservative voters, I think, stayed at home. The Labour won the by-elections, but their vote did not increase. In fact, it went down slightly in mid-Bedfordshire. So I don't think there was a resounding level of support for Labour, but clearly we have a lot of work to do. Rishi Sunak, myself, everybody, making sure that Conservatives get our message out better.
Why do you think Tory voters stayed at home when they must have known, as you do, that these were very important, these by-elections?
Yeah, but I think they knew that it wasn't going to determine who was going to be the government. And I think also there are significant legacy issues, if you like, in both constituencies. You know, the reason why the by-election was called in the first place. But what we need to do is to get on with delivering on Rishi Sunak's 5 priorities. We've got some really exciting new approaches on net zero, HS2, the smoking changes, the reforms to A-levels, a lot of key government reforms and changes coming through. And those are the sort of exciting policies that we'll be presenting more of to the electorate as we move forward to next year's general election.
It's like, okay, so first of all, he says, well, Labour didn't really get a good result here. They overturned a massive majority. 2 majorities. One of them was historic. So, of course, yeah, well, you know, Labour didn't do all that well, so let's not look into this too much. And of course, doubling down. Yeah, what we need to do is focus on Rishi Sunak's 5 pledges. Well, they were rejected by the electorate. You know, of course, by-elections are not the same as the general election. People vote for different reasons, and we can't really use the by-election as a barometer for the general election, but the amount of discontent is pretty palpable, because you have people who you expect to turn up to vote for the Conservative Party. They stay at home. They're not happy with the government. And you have people switching from the Conservative Party to the Labour Party. So the Tories are in serious trouble here. Yes, once again, you can't compare the by-election to the general, but over the last number of by-elections, the Tories have been losing massive majorities. So this doubling down isn't going to work. They need to come up with something more radical. And as Lee Anderson, the deputy chair, said, we can't win on our 2019 manifesto of get Brexit done and back Boris. We need to come up with something else. And they've been attempting to use the culture war, but that's failed. So you need to have something else, but they have nothing else. They can't run on the NHS. They've trashed the NHS. They can't run on the economy. Things are getting worse. They can't run on education. They can't run on infrastructure. They can't run on pretty much anything. And even their go-to of the culture war is failing them. So these are wonderful results for the Labour Party. And as I said, it's not a barometer, and not a complete barometer for the general, but it is certainly pointing in that direction. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.